Hey guys, Mrs. Gatch here. Today I'm going to show you how you can turn in a portrait of yourself into a really cool kind of logo with an overlay of an image over it. Sounds weird when I explain it, but you'll see on the image that we're going to create how easy it is. I'm going to run through this tutorial the way that I like to do it, but if you go online, I'm going to link with you guys a ton of different options, tutorial videos that you can use. Go ahead and check those out and do them as well, because everyone has their own way that works out with it. This was just me kind of looking through a bunch of different ones. Okay? If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me, email me, etc. Remember, this is no stress. This is just a way for you guys to have some fun and learn some cool tools, just like a clipping mask or how to use threshold, which is an adjustment that you'll see. All right, let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. To start off here, I will go ahead and I have a picture of myself. Now, there's two different ways you guys can actually cut yourself out. You could obviously use the quick selection tool over here just by pressing W. Another tool that is pretty cool to use is one that's called a magnetic lasso tool that just lets you get a bit more exact with things. I'm going to go ahead and use it and trace myself around. Actually works a lot faster in situations like this because I'm not going to be using the refine edge tool. All right, I'm just going to kind of work my way to the bottom here, and you want to make sure to close that loop. So once I have myself selected here, what I'm going to do next is actually go ahead and hit Command J. And if you see what I've done with Command J, it went ahead and cut me out. Now, you don't have to worry about the detail not being here because I'm going to show you something in a second. So we have our pictures. We have ourselves cut out. I'm going to go ahead and get out of that lasso tool, and I'm going to go to where it says Image, Adjustments, Threshold. And what this is going to do is this is going to give you, it's going to turn in your picture kind of into like a cutout sort of look. You can adjust what you want your threshold to look like if you want it to have more details, but you don't want it to be like too washed out where you're not seeing anything or where it's too dark, right? Too many whites or too many blacks. So you find kind of that happy medium. Usually 130 to 140 works out pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And the next step that you guys are going to do is this. Next to layers, you're going to see a tab that's called channels. You're going to click on channels, and then down here, you're going to click a little like dotted circle, and it's going to load your channel as a selection. You see that all of this is selected. I'm going to go back to my layers panel, and then I'm going to, first step, hit Command Shift I. What that does is just inverts my picture, inverts my selection, and then after I hit Command Shift I, I'm going to just hit Command J. Now, it has made another copy of this. So I'm going to turn off this copy, and you can see here that this is transparent. So we've already kind of started out with what we've needed to do. I'm actually going to go ahead and do Command T, and I'm going to transform this just to make it a little bit smaller where I'm going to center it. All right, into my picture, maybe a bit smaller, you'll see why. And then I'm going to put it here. The next step then we're going to do is actually put into an image to overlay into the background. You could just leave it where it's black and white like this, but there's a lot of creative things you can do with this. Here you might also can tell that I have some lines and things that are still showing up here from the black. So if you ever wanted to erase those, I would suggest you add a layer mask to it. Go use your brush. And then for this one here, I'm actually going to be using a hard round brush. Make it a bit smaller, and I'm just going to erase around here some of these just kind of images, this here. All right. Not so bad. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and now what I'm going to be bringing in is my background image. I always like using my little galaxy photos. I have this one here. I'm going to go ahead and drop it on top and then zoom out and just make sure that it takes up the whole photo. I'm going to bring it in. Right now I can't do anything with it because it's still in that transform mode, so I'm going to hit enter or return. And then what's really important is make sure you are on your portrait, like the picture that you dropped in the background, and then you're going to hit, I think it's Option Command G, okay? Option Command G, and that's going to create a clipping mask. That's what a little clipping mask looks like. And so what's actually really nice is if I zoom out here and hit Command T, I can still move around my image on that clipping mask to decide what I would want as my background there. So remember, it's Option Command G to create the clipping mask of your image. So I'm going to zoom back in here now. I can still move around my deal. If I click here, I'm moving this around. But it's really important, like, just to figure out where you would want this to be. Actually, I'm going to go on this one here and move this around. Obviously, this is not where I want to leave it. I want to make sure that I put a background on this. So you're going to add in a solid color layer to the background. So just go ahead and pick one here. Let me drop it behind my face, actually. And you could try to pick another color, but obviously white is one that would work exceptionally well because you want things to stand out and you just want it to be really simple. You could also try to do a gradient effect if you wanted that too. Just give it an option. And so some other cool things that you can do as well is, I'll go ahead, I'm gonna add a new layer to the top here. I'm just gonna title it text. And then I'm gonna go to my text option. Come down here. We haven't really used it, but it's pretty straightforward. Up here, you have all the text that you would want. I'm going to make this quite big, and I'm just going to put Gatchgal, because that's what the name I use for everything. I'm going to make it quite big. That's actually too big, 200. Let's see if that worked out. All right. And then, if you wanted, you could actually add the same effect to the text that you did to your face. So I would go ahead, I would bring in my image, bring it over. This one doesn't exactly have to be perfect. And then remember, I have this image selection and I do Option Command G and it'll lay it over the clipping mask with the layer below it. So that is just a really simple, easy way for you guys to create a logo style with some cool kind of background effects. There's a lot of tutorial videos online that use this. I hope this one helps you. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I can't wait to see what you guys create. Good luck.